What did your family expect of you once you turned 18? As soon as I was a legal adult, my grandma told me that I'd be taking over my dead cousin's identity, living as her for the rest of my life to preserve the family legacy. My grandma controlled our family through money and fear. She'd inherited a fortune from her father and used it to dictate every aspect of our lives. Growing up, I watched her destroy relatives who defied her through disinheritance and banishment. She believed family reputation was worth any sacrifice. Her favorite granddaughter, Sophia, had died in a car accident 6 months earlier, taking with her a full scholarship to Yale and a serious relationship with a senator's son. Grandma refused to let those advantages die with her. I had no idea why she'd kept Sophia's death so quiet. No funeral, no obituary. Now I knew. After she told me her sick plan, Grandma presented me with Sophia's ruby ring, forcing it onto my finger. She explained that I looked enough like Sophia to pass with some adjustments. She'd already filed paperwork claiming I was the one who died, that there'd been a mix-up at the morgue. Starting tomorrow, I would move into Sophia's apartment, take her classes, marry her fiancé. Mom stood beside her smiling emptily, talking about what an honor it was to preserve Sophia's bright future. The transformation started immediately. Grandma hired specialists to teach me Sophia's mannerisms, her handwriting, her laugh. They dyed my hair, shaped my eyebrows, trained me to walk in her distinctive gliding style. I had to study videos of her for hours, memorizing speech patterns and inside jokes. They made me wear her clothes, use her perfume, sleep in her sheets that still smelled like her. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw them erasing me and painting my dead cousin over my bones. The hardest part was her long-term boyfriend, Daniel. He came for Sunday dinners, holding my hand under the table while calling me Sophia. Grandma had told him I developed amnesia from trauma, explaining why I seemed different. I hadn't been dead for the last 6 months. I'd been away at a facility trying to get better. He'd tell stories about their memories together while I nodded and smiled, feeling sick. He'd kiss me goodbye using pet names meant for a dead girl. Mom would critique my performance afterward, saying I needed to seem more in love or Daniel would get suspicious. I tried to resist subtly at first. I'd forget important dates from Sophia's life, hoping people would realize something was wrong. But Grandma had thought of everything. She'd created detailed amnesia documentation from hired doctors. When I acted too different, she'd increase my therapy sessions, which were really just more intensive training. She monitored every text I sent to Sophia, every social media post, making me redo them until they sounded right. Once they shipped me off to Yale, I thought being away from home would give me freedom to drop the act. But Grandma had students watching me, reporting back if I deviated from Sophia's schedule or personality. When I tried telling Sophia's roommate the truth, she laughed and said, "Grief makes people say crazy things." Grandma had preemptively told everyone I might claim to be someone else due to trauma. No one believed I wasn't Sophia. Daniel proposed on Sophia's birthday, in front of both families at the restaurant she'd loved. The ring was enormous, the moment perfectly orchestrated. I stood there shaking, wanting to scream that Sophia was dead and I wasn't her. But Mom's hand gripped my shoulder in warning. Grandma smiled from across the table, her eyes cold and threatening. I said yes in Sophia's voice while something inside me died. They set the wedding for next summer, planning to complete my transformation into her. But something in Daniel changed. He seemed sadder, guilty even. One night after dinner, he pulled me aside and whispered, "I know something's wrong. You're not yourself." My heart pounded. He was finally seeing through the lies. Over the next weeks, I slowly let him see more differences. When he confronted me privately, I broke down and told him everything. Daniel held me while I sobbed out the truth. He was horrified, said he'd suspected something was wrong but never imagined this. He promised to help me escape. We spent weeks planning secretly, using his family's connections to get me new documents. He'd create an alibi for our elopement while actually putting me on a plane to Canada. The night before the wedding was our only chance. The night before I was supposed to leave, Daniel texted me to meet him at Sophia's grave. He said we should say goodbye to her properly before starting fresh. When I arrived, he was standing over the headstone that bore my name instead of Sophia's. "I wanted to do this here," he said quietly, "so Sophia could watch." Before I could run, Grandma stepped out from behind a monument with 2 men who grabbed my arms. "Did you really think he didn't know?" Grandma asked, almost pitying. This was all mostly his idea. Daniel explained how he'd been reporting our entire relationship, every word I'd said, every escape plan I'd made. He'd played the perfect concerned fiancé while making sure I'd never get away. They dragged me to a van while I screamed my real name over and over. Daniel finally looked at me, his face calm. "I did love Sophia," he said, "but you'll do. We have Sophia's signature ready to go for a prenup. If you ever try to leave or tell anyone, you'll be institutionalized. My father's a judge. It's already arranged." As they forced me into the van, I realized the cruelest truth. Nobody was going to save me, and I was about to marry the man who'd helped bury me alive in my cousin's life. Full story on the channel below.